Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching GEEKCASTER, everything sci-fi, fantasy, and pop culture commentary. We've got Drew, we've got Davion, and I'm Michael, and we're going to talk about some films.
Let's go.
Let's do it. So, Nosferatu. I saw this film, and finally, this deeper sense of this vampire fascination, at least this classic film, it scared me. That scared me a little bit, but it made me concerned. And I'm really curious what you guys thought of just the overall fascination with the Nosferatu story of vampires. Because there's many stories of vampires, culturally, all over the world. But this specific one, what did you guys think? And then you could bring in things with the actual film and stuff like that, but I'm very curious, just overall, what do you think?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
That's fair enough because
That's fair.
all the movies you told me, Davion, I saw one, and that was this one. So I can kick us off. So I'll start off here. I saw the original Nosferatu, the old black and white film when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure this was on like Turner Classic Movies when we still had that on like cable.
Mm-hmm.
And they would play like old horror movies, old sci-fi joints, and I was a sucker for those as a kid. And seeing Nosferatu, even the shot where you have like him approaching and that forward-facing shot of him scared the crap out of me as a kid. But I was fascinated with the movie. The idea of like vampires when I was a kid was dope. And later in high school, like junior high or high school, you read Bram Stoker's Dracula, right? And then you may have, if you're like into the like film scene, there was the 90s Dracula. There was all the other ones with Christopher Lee back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen all those, I think, by this point. But it's the idea that then you get to now, like this postmodern era of horror. And Eggers does this joint, which is pretty much very, I'd say, well-placed for the most part. Combination of the original black and white film, novel, and certain visual elements. I wouldn't say like the plot or pace or anything like that, but the visual elements that was in the earlier like Christopher Lee films, you know? And I would say it worked for the most part. Like it was dope. Like I saw it twice. And I gotta say the second time around when you kind of know what you're getting into, you're able to pick out, you know how it goes, you ever pick out the little nuances and details that you may not have caught the first time. But as you do that, it's like, oh, so this was a reference to the original film, how like, what's the actor's name? Why am I always forgetting his name? Skarsgård? Like Skarsgård in all the makeup and stuff, and the costume. I forgot it was him. I totally forgot it was him. I had to remember, wait, who's the actor again for this? I'm like, oh yeah, it's Skarsgård, because he's a horror dude now. He's great. He's a good combination of, he's a weird amalgam of different types of like takes we've seen on vampires and Dracula and stuff. But this is Count Olaf. He's the original, the OG. So just that was good. Pacing was for the most part good. But they were overall just able to take a nice blend of each facet of what I guess would be the vampire mythos, or like I guess would be considered classic vampire horror, and then through the big screen. And it was dope. I enjoyed it.
Interesting.
Now, also compared to another movie I saw.
Well, hold on. I'm not finished talking about Nosferatu. You gotta.
Oh.
Yeah. I know you didn't see it, but you gotta hold on. Hold on.
I didn't see it.
I know.
Jump on it. It was a good one.
I think the casting was great. The costumes were great. I like the fact they actually built a couple blocks of this village. So that was great.
Oh, that's nice. I don't know if they were on location or if they built like a set or something. But yeah.
All of the above. They did some location stuff. Script-wise, and even some of the acting, I had an issue with it. I had an issue with. I like the fact that they gave the lead. Was it the
There's two.
Was
Well,
it
I consider two main leads.
Anna and Ellen? I like the fact that we saw a certain, which was what kind of Amina character, but I like the fact that they gave a certain amount of strength to her. Um, it wasn't too forced, but I feel there was like inconsistency with some of the writing and how it was acted. But I give it a little bit of excuse because they did a lot of reshoots. So if you pay attention to like the pasting, so for instance, Nicholas Holt's character, which was Thomas,
Mm.
after a while it was like, okay. And even Aaron Johnson's character, he played Frederick Harding.
Poor Frederick, yeah.
Yeah,
Poor Frederick.
you watched and you were like, it wasn't a smooth progression how it was acted out. Like it felt disjointed.
I kind of disagree with that. I think overall the pacing, for what it's worth,
Mm-hmm.
I think was overall pretty good. There's not a lot of dead weight moments. There's times where the film stops to kind of bask in the horror, but I think that those are some of the best shot scenes. Like when you have Thomas, when he's
Okay.
he's on his way to Olaf's castle.
Okay.
It takes a minute. The scene takes a while when you're going from the woods on horseback.
As it should.
With the transition, it gradually gets darker, and you start to get this idea that, dang, dude, you're getting like mind jacked into going into the carriage. It's slow. It progresses a little slow in places, but it's not without relevance or reason.
Mm.
I don't think that's slow. When it comes to sidebar question, is the chick in this movie that played old girl, is that Johnny Depp's daughter?
Yes, Lily Rose Depp.
Lily Rose Depp. I saw her last time. I'm like, wait, as in Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say that as, what was it? Is it Helen? Ellen is her character's name?
Yes, Ellen.
Ellen.
Hutter.
She was dope in this. She was good in this. And
The actors gave it their all.
They did well. I don't think anyone was really weak in the cast.
It was
I would
just
say
some of the writing I felt was like very repetitious, and I don't know. I just feel that the writing could have been better.
all right.
But
so
that's
I'm gonna,
all
right,
that's here or there.
But yeah, I would say nah. And I would say it's slow in places, sure. There is, well, when you say repetition, I'm gonna cycle this back to the plot. That's not without reason again.
Okay.
Example, Thomas,
Mhm.
he's always late. And I'm trying not to spoil this for Davion, but he's lost in the phone right now, so I'm just kind of like,
I'm watching the video.
got you. But it's like, when it comes to, without trying to not spoil anything, over the course of the film, there's a pattern of Thomas is always late.
Right.
He's late to work.
Right.
He's late getting to the castle. He's late getting back when Ellen, when things are popping off, and not to spoil, when things are popping off in the third act, he runs to a location trying to do something to prevent something.
Right.
But again, he's too late.
Right.
That's done.
See, but that's the thing. It's not. Again, the editing was great. Cinematography was great. It wasn't really the pacing of from scene to scene. I felt like the emotional pacing was not correct with the actors. But again, I believe it had to do with the reshoots because if you're giving your all in a spot and then 3 or 4 months later you come back and now you got to get into the same.
Yeah. The actors that I've known in the past, they say like if they go too long without doing a character, they've said this in interviews too.
Mhm.
But it's like if they go too long without playing a character,
Mhm.
they have to get pulled to it. It's like they're no longer in that headspace, so they kind of have to like rework themselves. It can be done, but if you're like working on a tight schedule and it's reshoots, like you just said,
Right.
it might be a little bit tough to kind of put yourself back in that headspace and get that extra key eye for the character.
Right.
You know, so it happens. But overall, I would say that 90% of it, well, yeah, 90% of it, what I would say was like it needed to be there. Certain style choices, certain things where he decides to linger on a certain shot, where we're going up the hallway and we see Orloff walking up.
That was
the
fun.
camera follows it. That stuff, yeah, it takes.
That was great.
But I'm like, yeah, that's film, bro. That's when
And that
David's
also
alien scene.
gave a nod to the original.
Yeah.
Because the original had those long kind of, those long shots, and you really want to take in the environment becomes another character. which it should.
Ambience. It's the ambience.
The ambience. So, oh,
But no, I enjoyed it. I definitely that's gonna be one I own on Blu-ray for sure.
right.
And the plot, dude, because again, Davion, watch the movie. The plot goes to a crazy spot, and the climax, it's okay. You saw it, Seven, right?
Yeah.
So that last shot, right? That last shot that you see of
Mhm.
the after,
Right.
right? It's like that's effectively what that is. It is beauty and the gruesome melded into one
To one thing.
in death.
Now, when I started this,
That's Orlov. You know?
Now-
Like, that was actually kind of nice.
now, Davion, this is a general thing, not specifically with the film, but just the story of this powerful, rich man, this European powerful man that basically sucks the blood of others to.
Not even just sucks, dude. Not to cut off your thought, but bro, he gulps people.
Right.
When this dude takes people down, shout out to the sound department of that movie.
Oh, that was great.
Orlov is drinking folks, bro. He's snack packing folks. Just, I'm like, bro, oh man, yeah.
It was the
vampires
first
are-
movie to do that, which I'm really. That's something
It
that
was
they really
nice.
brought to the table.
Nice.
I think others will pick that up. So, but with that being said, it was just interesting. This whole rich, powerful man, and he falls in love with the virgin. This whole kind of it was just as interesting psychology wise of what story they were telling, and
does dip into in parts and sections, and it's hinted in certain points. You start to wonder how much of it is supernatural, how much of it is psychology.
Right.
Just given Ellen, right? I was messing up. Yeah, Ellen.
Yep.
Given Ellen's nature, the way that what's afflicting her in the film, given the fact that people just kind of throughout the film just like, yo, she's just crazy, bro.
She's just crazy.
And particularly Frederick. Again, there was some cool stuff going on, like when it came to just emoting with and body acting and stuff. When she touches him, both times she tries, he yanks away like she's got the plague. And I'm like, man, there's some kind of malice to that, right? There's some kind of undercurrent of the potential contention there.
Right.
So the fact that they're able to play that out with the actors, that was it gave it just a little something extra.
And I thought it was how they kind of did this dance of she's crazy, but then she had this rendezvous. That's how you say it?
Rendezvous.
Right.
Meeting point, yeah, that's a rendezvous.
Right. With the Count, because obviously he took her virginity. I don't know if you got that from.
Now, did Davion leave us? Did he bail? Did he bounce? Is he out?
I think he's
all
on
right.
mute.
Okay, the idea is, did he? Because at the
that's what I got from it.
In Act 1, okay, he was in Bumsville. What was it, Transylvania? He was in Transylvania.
But was he though?
See, that's the thing. There's this kind of, there's a lingering, I would say, gray area on this whole metaphysical thing. He could talk to her. He could touch her in dream, but he physically had to be there to do the thing by the third act. That part didn't quite make sense to me.
Right. But also it was weird because it made it seem like he was with her years ago, and now he wanted her back. And
at least a few years had passed from the time when she walked in that garden at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
That was their first encounter because, as she confesses, she prayed.
Right.
She's sensitive to the supernatural is what we discover about Ellen.
Right.
And at the beginning of the movie, she's basically praying to any entity that she could communicate with, because I guess she felt lonely or something, whatever. Right. Some wish upon a star. It's kind of a weird take on the whole fairy tale idea of wishing upon a star.
Right.
Praying to a fairy godmother, praying to a god. That's kind of what that idea was. Mm-hmm. And Orlov picked up on that through, I guess, the ESPN. And he reached out to her. But when she walks out to the garden, you have that cool opening where she's walking out to the garden and she's laying on her back. It turns from this moment of what's, I guess, ecstasy or pleasure into a horror show.
It was really weird.
Yeah. But yeah, he was still in Transylvania. So did that actually happen? Because then later she's talking about her dad found her in the garden later.
Right.
and she looked messed up. I'm like, wait, did you do that to yourself? Or were you
Right.
acting?
Right.
So we don't quite know.
We don't know. We don't
But
know.
that's kind of cool. We don't know which it's either heads or tails on that.
Right. But it would make more sense because we've seen the whole, oh, I don't know. Oh, wait a minute. Well, there's been this story like told where he sees a picture of her and she reminds me of it like the reincarnation of his past love. We've seen that in movies.
That tired old Jim. Yeah.
And then we've
I'm
seen the
glad
one
they did
just
do that. It was more happenstance and just
right.
she reached that. It's like the idea of looking into the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
Something back, and then that thing was attracted to her.
Right.
And in the course of the film, you start to wonder, was she attracted to him too? Because she's all making all the sexy faces on. She's trying to berate him. So when you say she's strong, I mean, yes, she is. She's
Right.
Ellen. We like her. But at the same time, when she has these moments with Orlov, it's like,
right,
you into him too. There's an element of you. You're revolted. He's a revolting guy. He's horrifying.
Right.
But you're also leaning up in his face like you're about to kiss him. There's, I guess,
right.
maybe
Are you under a spell?
The third act happens.
Right. Are you under a spell or you're into him? Right.
Yeah, is this a spell or is this just you? I'm going to kind of go with a little column A, column B. Part of it's his influence. Some of it's just her.
But it's a disturbing story, and it still goes with this whole kind of pedophile, bordering, take the young girl. And again, he was with her when she was a lot younger, allegedly, if they got together.
If that happened,
if that happened, or if it didn't happen, and why, just trying to break down why is this story so attractive and
okay, without dipping into a whole soapbox
right.
of grooming culture, pedophilia. It's the idea that in classic Gothic horror, this is the thing. You're attracted to the dark. It's not necessarily, it's old, crusty, evil men preying upon young, innocent flowers. Like, no.
Right.
It's the idea that in all of us, there is darkness, even in those that are perceived as innocent. So, and if you're going to have a main character, it would behoove you to have them be tethered to whatever you're trying to scare them with. Right?
Gotcha. And this is why she was, her strength was dark.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we can rock with that. But the idea of it is, it's like how we're always joking that to be in a horror movie, you got to be at least twice as dumb as the average human. Your IQ has to be a little lower in order for you to walk into these situations and stay in the haunted house. Right.
Let's leave. No, let's investigate.
Let's stay. Why? I don't know. The walls are bleeding and telling us, nah, let's wait it out. That you got to be dumb in order to exist in horror. To do this to the character, to make there's like an atavistic, almost like paranormal, like tether between you and the force that's out trying to get you. It's scary, but it also compels the characters to like see it through. It's useful glue, I would say, in plot stuff, and structure stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. Fascinating film. I'm sure we're going to see another one a couple years from now. It's not going away.
On a tear right now. I'm hyped to see it. I'm liking him. Eggers.
Yeah. It's interesting. Especially watching the original. So I saw the original after watching this in the film because I got to see the original. I mean, people have always shown flashes of it, but it was interesting to see, these things stayed the same, and this is, he borrowed here, and he told the story, but he lit this way, and he made this character do this and do that. It's amazing how many things are the same.
It was a good blend of all those, and there's particularly with the boat segment when he's on the, I can't remember what the name of the boat is. He even took that was like straight up from the novel, from the scariest part of that novel was reading the notes of the ship. Yo, bro, 2 more guys are missing. Something's on the boat. I think we should probably leave, but the captain's freaking out. Like, that was in the film.
Right.
And I remember, it makes me recall that there was a whole movie that they made just on that part.
Wow.
It was the where Dracula's on the boat. That was the whole movie.
Oh, that's right.
See this one?
No, I want to see it. I heard about it, but I never. What's the name of that one?
Like the Diary of something, or the Voyage of such and such, the Doom Ship from Dracula. I'm like, they even put that in the film, so that was cool.
That's pretty cool. And the whole movie's just that voyage.
Yeah, that's was the other joint. It was the whole thing was just on the boat, from
Wow.
the boat to the landing point. But yeah,
So this could be exciting, could be interesting, could be a total fail. Which way will it go? I'm talking about the one and the only Fantastic Four.
oh man, did Davion get back? Wait, we can't do this without him.
I don't know.
He's gone. Oh man, all right. So I saw the trailer. Did you see the trailer?
Yes.
Okay. I like most of what I saw. I've been
Okay.
very cool on Marvel stuff for a while. I don't even know if I watched the last set of series or movies or whatever. I've been kind of done for a while.
Right.
But this one, I gotta say, from what I saw, it looks, if nothing else, kind of promising. What's up?
Yep. No, I'm agreeing with you.
No, it looks kind of promising. I like that. Particularly, there's just more, I guess, for me, a style thing. Because they could have just cheaped out and then just went with the origin story of them all getting their powers. Another origin story where we have to set up a whole setup. We're setting up the next movie in this movie, so they're older. If you notice, at least Reed and Sue, they look older. I think they're married, so we get to bypass all that will they won't they crap. Thank you. And they've already got their powers. They show like clips of what when they get out to space.
Right.
It looks cool.
They will do flashbacks of the origin. You could see that from the trailer.
We'll see. Yeah, that's fine. That's natural. You got to kind of bring your audience in, or at least reference what got them the way that they are. That's fine. But I like that it looks like it takes place in a weird Art Deco future type of thing, like almost like the Jetsons with the cars and stuff like that.
Well, see, that's what you got. I got to watch it again because what I got from it was that this was just taking place in the past, like in the 60s.
It may be right. I'm not sure. That's why I'm interested. I'm like, is this another universe where it's like a modern version?
Let me see.
This is like the world, the way of Gotham City and an animated Batman. I'm not. Did you see the car? Right.
No. Yeah.
The shot was like the way that they dress, the buildings, the music. It all has this very kind of like.
Okay, I was correct. 1960s.
So it's in the 60s. Okay, I was gonna say 1950s, 1960s. It almost seems like it happens then, which I think is cool. Okay, it's a different era that
the
we
whole
have.
Art Deco vibe.
Yeah, Art Deco and stuff, and the zoot-suited kind of style. All right, I'm into it.
Yeah. And
the cast, I'll say, Pablo Pascal is a good enough actor to where I'll trust him with the role. Right? He wouldn't necessarily have been my first choice, but not for the reasons that some people would think. It's just because I've seen Pablo Pascal in a bunch of stuff, and again, it falls into what we were talking about in the other show with the whole Hollywood incest thing, where it's just the same crop of people.
Right.
I would have, for this one, preferred newer faces.
Me too. I would like unknowns. That would have been great.
Unknowns? Yeah, if you can get unknowns that just like really have a strong like audition,
right?
That'd be preferable. But okay, I trust him with the role.
What about Vanessa Kirby?
I'm not sure what else I've seen her in, but she looks like she could do the thing as a Sue. She seems like oddly a mature Sue, which I'm kind of for. I'm kind of into the idea if we're going to pick this up instead of her being like the next, modeling her like Jessica Alba, for example. Right. The other crappy Fantastic Four movies, rather than repeating that, let's just go with like more of like a mom type Sue Storm that maybe matured and developed her powers better. You know,
I do find it fascinating that there's Sarah Niles, John Malkovich, which is John is amazing.
I'm not sure
Paul Walter Hauser, Natasha Lyonne. They're not saying what characters they're playing.
That's fine. Don't tell me.
So don't tell me. It makes you say, because normally if it's, they'll just be like, all right, but they might have some nice surprises, which would be nice.
There could be some cool twists in there. I don't want to know. Like I saw the teaser, the trailer that we saw. I'm not going to watch anything else. I'm just going to wait. They gave us everything, including Galactus. I don't need to see jack else until movie day, till it actually drops.
Yeah, and why did they give us Galactus? You think that was just for us
Because
that
we
know?
want to see. They could either go with Doctor Doom, but Doctor Doom is Robert Downey Jr. now. All right. So the next best thing is Galactus, who we want to see anyway.
So now,
That's who anyway.
I thought, I guess they're doing a different universe thing completely.
No, it'll probably be the same thing. It'll probably be the same.
But how? Because if that's the 1960s, there's no way they would be a lot older for today.
No, they'll bull crap it some type of way. It's going to be because they've already confirmed it. Robert Downey Jr. is Doctor Doom.
Right.
Because reasons. Okay, so they're either going to go with the multiverse angle, where it's a Tony Stark that just so happens to look like Tony Stark,
right?
But he's Doctor Doom,
right?
Or it's he exists in that timeline, but he's going to show up in the second one as Doctor Doom for this MCU, aka Robert Downey Jr. again.
Wow! Wait a minute. I don't think they would do this, but that would be interesting. The fact that they're doing Fantastic Four in the 60s, instead of having this weird, crazy multiverse that goes everywhere, here's the modern, like present day, and they could literally go from the 60s and keep the characters locked in that way, and that time.
I kind of see where you're going with that. I think I get it. So the idea in way of decade, think of it as like 60s, 70s, 80s, so on.
Correct.
This section of films or this part of the MCU takes place in the 60s era. Like you could even go like gold, silver, bronze age, right?
Right.
Or it's modern, like gold to modern.
Right.
And the idea is that with the Fantastic Four's generation, their decade as heroes would have been the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
That could work. My only thing about that is in the existing MCU, no one has ever referenced a Fantastic Four. We've never seen a Baxter building. At least I don't think so. There's never been a Reed Richards who was the greatest mind on the planet that we never referenced in any of the movies prior to now. That's the part.
That's a good point.
That bugs me. But they might make it work. It may be, well, after Loki and all that crap with the timelines, it's kind of the 60s of a different MCU timeline that will somehow find its way in this multiverse, madness, this multiverse soup. They'll find their way to Black Panther and all the others.
And that's the thing. Everybody really, let me tell you, Hollywood, at least you black, we want to see Fantastic Four fight Black Panther. And they could
that would be fun. That would be fun. That's why I brought that up. Like, that would be fun because I did hear that they're finally giving way and they're going to like try and recast.
Okay.
Which I'm like, y'all could have did that years ago if you want to be honest. You're just trying to phase the character out because, man. But now that they're actually apparently going to go and bring him back, it's like, yo, save him for, if not the sequel. No, let's see. If they still open with Galactus, part 2 could be Doctor Doom. Part 3 could be T'Challa as like the antagonist into the ally. Mm-hmm. He starts off as the villain, goes into antagonist. By the end, he's actually cool with Reed and the crew.
Right, and that could work.
That could be the third one.
Could work.
That could work. That could work.
So, excited. We got 2 minutes left, so thank you everyone that's watching GEEKCASTER. If you're watching us on cable, thank you. If you're watching us on Instagram, all the things, blah, 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 YouTube. Either way, comment, let us know what you're thinking. What are your predictions for Fantastic Four? What are you thinking? What do you think is going to happen? And let us know. Thank you as always. And you the man, Drew.
Oh, thank you, man. Back at you.
Keeping that West Coast together. Even though we're in internet land, there's no coast.
It's still singed. It's all burnt and stuff. But it's still,
yeah, about that.
we're cool. Yeah, we're fine out here. But yeah, we burned out here. It was crazy. But we're safe.
Oh man. Well, prayers with everyone out there. Hope all is well. You're watching GEEKCASTER, and we're out.